Just tell us when you're ready. No rush.
I am ready. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Hopefully people will get the notification. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the chat on my phone just in case. But I should be able to see the chat for anyone here today on the actual screen. I think I have that set up correct. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Just loading in. Anybody who's coming in, just getting ready. We're going to get started here in a second.
Nice.
Yeah, we're live. Just give me a few seconds for the notifications to go up.
No worries.
Whoa, what happened? Why did the light just get like super bright on my camera? There it goes.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, not good. Gather technology.
Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Like
Anyone who comes in, if you're seeing this part right now, just scroll back to the beginning and you'll get an explanation of what we're doing today. But I'm going to go ahead and do my introduction. Hello readers and digital people, and welcome back to GP Reads. I am your host, Grant Reads, and today we are going to be talking about the potential of Gorillaz Phase 8, and all the interesting things that have been floating around recently, all the hints and everything that Jamie's been talking about, how the whole entire issue with Larp could have possibly led into an AI phase, and Cyborg Noodle returning, and all these. I mean, we've seen Jamie draw an aged Cyborg Noodle recently. There's been other references in The Lost Chord. We had Cyborg Noodle referenced again. We've had things talking about Cyborg Noodle's head being used as a plant face. Like, what actually happened? Is it a bunch of retcons? Is Cyborg Noodle actually coming back? Is it the fact that Gorillaz band didn't know what happened to her, so they're making things up to try to come up with an excuse? Maybe they left her abandoned on the island and they the trauma of that kind of made them black out and they made up things? I mean, so many things could have happened, but if it's true that Jamie is making the next phase, Jamie and Damon are making the next phase about AI versus humanity, the real versus fake, which is something they've done already kind of in the past with the false icons and everything. So wouldn't it be really funny though if LARP actually inspired the next Gorillaz phase? That's what we're going to be talking about here tonight. That's the main thing. Also, what else survived Plastic Beach? We'll be talking about that as well. What else from the actual island? There were so many things that happened on there. We're talking about the evangelist, the people that ran the shops, the boogeyman. Where's the boogeyman now? Just all kinds of different things in that genre as well, or in that realm as well. And with me, I have two special guests today. If you'd like to introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. Hello. I go by. You may know me as Ace, or from K-Toss the Rat.
You may know me as like Snake that I used to go by, or as Annalise. I think that's how I pronounce my name on TikTok.
All right, and what we're going to do is we're just going to have a really deep discussion, go over all these topics, what we think could lead into what, kind of go over some of the actual information, some of the actual lore, and also we'll be answering your questions, and if you all have anything you'd like to bring up for potential in Phase 8, something you'd like to see even, like time travel, or if it went to, like a biker phase like we're doing as part of the fan thing, anything you all think could be or you'd like to see in Phase 8, or things that you're seeing now that could lead into something, go ahead and bring it up and we'll discuss it here tonight. But first of all, let's go ahead and let's just talk about how funny it is about the AI thing and how there's been some references to AI in Gorillaz before and now, and then the whole thing with Larp and Jamie actually shutting it down. What'd y'all think about that whole fiasco anyway?
So, when I first discovered the LARP music video, at first, I was like, the song sounds familiar to me, and I was like, okay, I know where this song is coming from, but then when I watched the video, I was like, this doesn't seem like something Gorillaz would post themselves, because usually if Jamie and Damien were to make a video called LARP, it would normally have like, in my opinion, it would kind of have like, the like music style of Saturn Bars. Right. I feel like it would do something with that, or they would be somewhere completely new, or it would just be really, really trippy. I feel like if they were to do that song, so I was like, yeah, I don't think this is the official song, and
yeah,
whoever did this needs to ask Jamie and Damien for permission to post this before they start just posting the song, because it's like, I know Jamie and Damien appreciate like the fan art and like fan-made animatics and music videos, but you also need to ask them for permission or at least credit them and just not like make it your own. Like you
Right.
can make it your own, but don't steal their ideas or thoughts. If you're going to use your ideas and thoughts, you're going to have to give them like credit for it, or at least tell people that, hey, I'm going to give copyright issues or something at least.
Well, I mean, I think the actual boundary there lies in taking a likeness and using it for inspiration for a fan project versus actually stealing their voice and saying it's them. That was the main thing, saying it's actually them.
Yeah.
And advertising it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Like, you know, there is a lot of people out there that at first they're like, oh, it's okay, but once you get like down the road of like, oh, I'm gonna steal their voice and I'm not even gonna tell anybody about it, then you're kind of pushing the boundaries.
Well, yeah, I can have to agree with all that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's just like interesting and stuff.
It's the whole AI movement
as well.
It's where do you cross that line between being a creative aid versus replacing creativity? And we don't need people helping with that situation. Because that's what they were doing. They're using AI to steal it and then saying, oh, no, I actually did perform with Gorillaz. And then you look at their channel. And I'm not putting them down for the number of subscribers they have. But when a 1,000 subscriber channel says they collaborated with Gorillaz, you know, this multi-million subscriber channel, it just seems a little off, you know?
It did.
Yeah, it does.
It did seem off to me. It's like, because it's people were going to collab with Gorillaz, they usually would post it on their Instagram, or Jamie and Damien would tag the artist themselves, or
exactly.
As we like a long time ago when they worked with Elton John, we saw a wholesome interaction between him and 2D on their Instagram where they still had that and they tagged him, so that way we know, okay, this is actually legit, real. They did collaborate and stuff.
Yep.
So I guess if we had an AI phase coming up, do you think it would be, I mean, Cyborg Noodle is such a perfect person to bring back. I mean, they've already hinted at it. They hinted at it with the head in the plant pot. They hinted at it with not really knowing where she was, saying she was riding off on a bike, saying that, or showing her actually on the island, and then her eye opening as it fell, like she's still alive. She's
definitely
came to consciousness on the lost chord. I mean, it'd be so much wasted potential if they didn't bring her back. So do you think it's going to be like a whole entire, maybe she got with some other company and had the rest of the gorillas built into robots, so it's like the AI gorillas versus the real gorillas, and it's like the heart of rock is what decides
that would be an interesting theory if they did go that route for Phase 8. That would be interesting if they do or not, you know. That would be interesting. I really like that theory.
I potentially think that they could go that route because it has been hinted and kind of teased at in
that's right. It has.
You remember Cyborg Noodle had her own band, and like it was teased that she had her own band, and it was teased. I remember Noodle said that she used her head as a pop plant. But then again, we didn't really. But here's the interesting thing. Okay, so I remember back in like the Lost Chord, where we saw her sinking in the submarine. Now I think personally, as during that time, she managed to drag herself out back into the beach where Plastic Beach was. She managed to drag herself back, but I think she was really damaged. So Noodle's like, okay, I'm just gonna cut off her head with a katana and then use it as a potted plant. But then I think Mordok, when nobody was looking, I think Mordok took Cyborg Noodle's body and then decided to repair it himself. Or this is really way out there, but what if Paula Cracker was in contact with Mordok still, and potentially he said that she could fix Cyborg Noodle, but then I think personally, even though Paula and 2D made up, I personally think that Paula could actually like pull the, like, if she wanted revenge on Mordok, potentially, let's say that she was like, you know what, I hate this bastard, I want to get revenge, and then she decides to steal Cyborg Noodle's body, repair it herself, steal the head from Gorillaz, and then basically and then basically Cyborg Noodle decides, I'm gonna get revenge on everybody in Gorillaz. I want to take over Gorillaz. So potentially, I'm thinking Cyborg Noodle could come back with her band and try to make it better. And then, kind of like we saw in the last poll, I'm not saying exactly they're gonna go this way, but with like the potential of Moonflower, she kind of led 2D astray. I'm thinking potentially maybe Cyborg Noodle could get 2D on her side because she could bring up all the horrible things that Mordok did to him in Classic Beach. Like if you remember the game, he did a lot of effed up things to 2D, like traumatizing with the whale.
Yes, he did.
Yes, that too.
I mean, the whole thing with Moonflower, even I feel like that. The fact that they paralleled that with Paula Cracker, I don't think it was just for that. I feel like that would be a waste. I feel like there's way too much potential there with just kind of getting that idea back into the public consciousness, and I'm wondering if that was foreshadowing for bringing back Paula. And that makes sense. Like you said, Murdoch would want to get the body repaired. He was crying when he saw Cyborg Noodle's body. I mean, he was.
That's true. We actually saw a tail run down his cheek when you saw.
Yeah. So I don't think he destroyed it. I don't think that Noodle just put the body in her room, or the head in her room, and then used it as a flower pot. What I think, it would have had to been hollow, right? To have a whole plant in it. They took the brains out. You know how dead? I mean, that head was damaged. It had been shot. She was short-circuiting. I think they took out her brains and her memories and everything, and maybe sent it to Paula, and it's getting repaired. And then she just kept the husk, just the head, for a plant.
Yeah, I think so. I genuinely think Mordok did that, but he made up the story that, oh, hey, Noodle decided to use her head, and we have no idea what happened to his body.
Where they took the brain out, though. They could have just left that out.
Yeah, because I was thinking back to the last core and stuff, and I was potentially thinking, what if... So, this is a huge if, but if Cyborg Noodle survived, then potentially, I know that we saw this corpse on the island, but I'm thinking potentially Damien and Jamie could bring back oh god, I'm trying to think of his name. Dali, I think that's how you pronounce it. They could bring him back because we did see him during Domatic. We did see him in that submarine. And potentially we didn't see him after the last core. We just saw
a daily skeleton at all. That's true.
But I'm thinking if Gorillaz does pull a plot twist, he could they could potentially bring him back with Cyborg Noodle. Maybe their memories were so bad that they made up things that they couldn't remember, or they had trauma that they just was blocked in their brain that they were okay.
You give me a really good idea for a plot twist. What if the gorillas we have now are actually AI and the real ones are somewhere else? I mean, that's really stretching it. But you just got me thinking that. It's like everybody's like, they look so different now. They act so different now. What if it's not really them?
Oh, it could be. It could be. Cause,
I don't know. I feel like that would come in later. I feel like that would be how this new one begins. Because remember, Jamie said he's going to have a whole new art style. Damon and Jamie. They said they're not going to do away with the cartoons. They said they're going to have a whole new art style. So what if the new art style is actually not the gorillas, but it's the robot ones? And we get that from the beginning of this phase. And then about halfway through, we find out the real gorillas, still in the old art style, are being held captive or something. And they have to try to escape.
Ooh.
And it's actually not a new art style at all. It was just new gorillas.
that I could see Jamie going that route with that. Actually, I could see doing something like that.
It could be.
We think they're totally new and they're all cool. Like they have totally different attitudes and everything. We're like, man, they've all changed so much. It's just so different. And then we're like, wait a minute, the real ones are over there. This isn't the real ones. This is AI.
It would make sense because what if they? Okay, so what if we were shown gorillas? But what you said, it's not gorillas, but they look like gorillas. They behave like gorillas because they were programmed to act like gorillas. They were okay. Here's the idea. They were okay. So what if let's say that you kidnap the real band, and then you replace them with AI robots, and nobody knows, and the only person who would know. This is a really huge if. Really huge if. Okay, so you know how we got the hint that Jamie said that he might bring Ace back again. So I have this really huge wild idea. What if Ace is the only one besides Paula Cracker to recognize that the Gorillaz aren't real because they got replaced with AI copies.
That could be a sad point, yeah.
Because we do remember when they mentioned that Ace was old best friends with Mordok
Right.
and stuff. So it could be possible that he would know that it's not.
Yeah, he would know the difference.
Yeah, he would know the difference because he was old mates with Mordok and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had like a past and stuff like that.
Heck, if we're going down that route, we could even see the introduction of Hannibal. I mean, he would know his own brother.
True, because we never got to see what Hannibal is because they never mentioned Hannibal, Mordok's brother.
And they keep rehashing old characters, so I mean, it would make sense with what they've been doing recently.
They've mentioned his father, but never his brother, because there's not much.
Yeah, just by name
his
only.
Brother, like not much known on his brother.
Yeah, which is interesting. Which is interesting that you bring up Hannibal because I was thinking potentially. Jamie could potentially. Okay, this is also a huge guess on here, but I was thinking maybe even Hannibal knows about Cyborg Noodle's band because if you think about it, he should be out of jail by now.
What if he's
and
the
maybe
bassist?
He. Oh, it could be like maybe like he went to like this bar or like you know how like they sometimes have gigs, so like I could just see Cyborg Noodle walking to the bar with her band and performing there, and Hannibal's there, and he happens to notice this band, and then he thinks about it, and he's like, this band kind of reminds me of somebody I used to know.
Right.
And then he's like, and then maybe like that brings up memories about Mordok, and then he's like wondering what the hell maybe he's like thinking what the hell happened to my really young, stupid brother, and then he finds out about it, and then he decides to go visit them, but then like when he gets there, he sees them, but then like he sees these AI robot clones, and he's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Like I feel like Hannibal would know the difference between.
I feel like both Ace and Hannibal will both know because Hannibal is Mordok's brother, and Ace and Mordok used to be old mates and stuff, so they both would know definitely.
I feel like either Hannibal would care or he wouldn't give a shit, and then he would try to figure out where the hell his brother is. But he also doesn't care at the same time, but he kind of does because like let's say that there's a huge money reward for finding the gorilla, and so like
his brother would definitely do it for the money, definitely.
Yeah, he would do it for the money. So like I could see him teaming up with Ace, and they just go different like places trying to find where the gorillas are at. But the only person who knows is Mordok himself, unless of course they didn't get to 2D. Now here's the thing though, everybody thinks that 2D is really stupid, but
he's not.
We have to give him credit. So I'm thinking maybe like 2D gets away from being cloned, and he's the only one who. Actually, no. I think Russell, Noodle, and potentially, I think 2D would be the only ones who would like destroy the robot clone, and like they get away, but Mordok doesn't because he still has some weird past with Paul Cracker and. Maybe some old feelings maybe thrown in there because he kind of mentioned like the whole he had feelings for Moonflower, but then he kept mentioning Paul Cracker, and I thought there's some unresolved tension between them.
And now if you go on TikTok and you look at one of the videos, he actually show himself getting a tattoo of Moonflower, so he still has a little bit of like love for her, even though she's dead and all that.
Right, but I think there's some like still old feelings for Paul Cracker that Mordok has, but he doesn't help.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So I think potentially like he ends up like not just he's like I'll create a robot clone myself and the whole entire bandmate because there is actual proof that Mordok did actually create a robot clone of Russell and 2D. That actually is something Jamie had. I don't remember what it was, but I saw it.
Yeah, he had
somebody
backups
was
of all of
talking
them
about-
at one point.
And there is also fan art of like Cyborg 2D and stuff.
Right,
So.
but here's the thing though. People thought it was a hoax, but no, it's not a hoax because Jamie did actually draw that himself.
Yeah.
But he discarded it as a discarded idea. He's like, I'm
For
not
now.
gonna do this. But potentially
might
he
come
was
back,
gonna do
yeah.
this.
Yes,
for
for now, but it might come back in Phase 8. Cyborg
It might
2D
come back in
and
Phase 8.
others might come back in Phase 8.
Let's
But
think about this
I don't.
possibility
But I
too,
think,
though. When we heard about Cyborg Noodle's band, it was only 2 people. It was Cyborg Noodle, and it was a larger person that said reminded them of a Frankenstein's monster. That sounds like Russell to me, but if it's only those 2, who's singing? So that makes me think maybe Cyborg Noodle is the singer of this particular iteration of the band, and then we got Russell,
I think so too.
the giant monster Russell playing the drums still. And if that's the case, they might not all be cyborgs. It may just be cyborg or AI led, and then maybe Hannibal is their bassist. And then maybe their 2D replacement is like another, like Paula or something.
I can totally see that. I can totally see Cyborg Noodle like
You
be like
know-
eating them. It'd be only like AI or something.
It could. It
Well,
could actually.
I mean, the
be
Frankenstein
because-
could be artificial too.
It actually
He could be like a meat robot,
It could be.
basically, or or an android. even.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking Cyborg Noodle potentially could be the lead singer of her band. And then, like you said, the Frankenstein monster could be the drummer. But then I'm thinking Cyborg Noodle would also need a bass player.
Or maybe
as
she just had
well.
guitar and
So-
drums. Maybe she played guitar and sang, and then he did drums.
Yeah, and then
Could be like a
the
punk
bass
band or
player.
something.
I don't know if Cyborg Noodle would try to steal Mordok. I potentially think if she couldn't get her hands on Mordok, she would go to Hannibal, or she would go to the next closest best thing, which is Ace.
Ace.
Because
Oh,
because we know
Maybe
Ace
she got
can
Ace.
play the bass.
And he
That's
could
true
be
because Ace
like a
did-
double agent trying to save
Ace-
them.
Yeah, that is true because Ace did actually take over for Modok when he was in prison
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the I think it was Phase 5.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it was
I
it was
don't
Song
remember what
Machine.
phase
No,
that
one Song
was.
Machine. It was right before Song Machine. It was Now. So that was
Yeah,
5.
right.
The Nano Phase because he did, so he knows how to play the bass and stuff. So
Mhm.
she
So-
could go after Ace because he knows how to play the
But-
bass.
Here's the question though. So whenever at the kind of during the whole like
See you, King of Burrs. I'm gonna address the live chat real quick.
The
Hold that
whole-
thought.
it's okay.
Let's see. We got Fabian here. We've got King of Burgers. We've got Pandora's World and Mega Mimi. Address some of the comments real quick. King of Burgers says, not feeling so good today. Yeah, a lot of people are sick right now. There's so many people in my family sick right now too, and people I know. And also,
Yeah, I
Pandora's World's sick. too.
Yeah,
Everybody feels better.
yeah. It's like I think it's like some kind of like bug going around or something
could
like
be.
that. Because my parents were sick last year. Before 2024 happened, they all like both my mom, my dad, and my sister all had colds and stuff.
Yeah, it's been bad this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody gets.
No,
Better
I didn't
because-
get sick because of my strong immune system.
Anyway,
Thank you, my strong immune system.
Hold that thought for one more second.
wish
though.
everybody who-
So yeah, anybody got anything they'd
okay.
like to add in? Any questions? Anything y'all think could happen or we'd like to see happen in Phase 8? And sorry, go ahead and continue where you were. What you were
Sorry.
saying.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So, speaking. So like you know how like the quote phase we had Noodle talking to somebody on the phone.
It's true.
A lot of people thought that was
Oh.
Mordok he was talking to, but I potentially. I have a very good guess on this. I potentially don't think it was Mordok because we saw
I think
Mordok
it-
outside.
I think it
We
could
saw
have
2D
probably
and-
been Ace.
Yeah, because like we saw Russell inside the hospital, we saw 2D inside the hospital. So I
Mhm.
think it could be. Well, hold on. It could be Paula, or it could be Ace, or it could be
I
both.
I don't think Noodle would trust Paula,
Well,
but
no,
she would
I don't
trust
think so either.
Ace, though. I think because 2D will tell Noodle what happened with the last, guitarist and stuff before they had
Right.
Noodle.
Right, but if it is Ace, I think potentially Noodle could potentially warn him that somebody is coming after him. Because if you think about it, maybe Cyborg Noodle knows the location of where Ace is, and she's
True,
like, I'm
because-
gonna go
she probably does. They were
now.
really close.
Because I do remember Jamie mentioned that Ace was in underground bunker and stuff.
hmm
But the question is how. So my question is Cyborg Noodle the location of Ace and potentially
And the
Hannibal.
underground bunker.
But my question is, why would she go after both of them though if she only needs one base player? Unless of course she could use Hannibal as a base player and then potentially use Ace as bait and basically force Mordok to create this the other two band members either by cloning them or using their DNA and then using that as a clone in a robotic form, or she can make them artificial or part human, part robot, potentially.
Can't you see that happening? That's a possibility.
Even though that's really messed up, I potentially think she could force Mordok to do that.
Oh, she would. She would totally use like Ace as bait and Hannibal too. Now it makes me think that we know Ace knows how to play the bass guitar and stuff. That means that when we know about Ace and Mordok being old mates, it probably means Mordok probably taught him how to play the bass, probably.
Yeah, he's his older brother.
We
he
have
may have taught him.
Yeah, there was a question for all of us from Fork Studios. Hopefully I spelled that right. So the question is, do you prefer the 2D animation or the 3D animation? I personally...
Depends on the video for me.
Well, I personally... that's hard to say because I personally do like the old 2D animation. It just... Because I grew up kind of around the time that Gorillaz, before they started the 3D animation, they had the 2D, and I kind of grew up with the 2D animation, and just watching it gets like a nostalgia feeling to me. But I do actually also kind of like the 3D model version because it kind of gives, in a way, it kind of gives like you just like, for example, with
like a realism.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just yeah, thank you. It gives that feeling, and it kind of also kind of makes you. It kind of like it's like a 3D live experience, kind of like you're putting on the red and blue 3D glasses, and you're just watching it for the first time. So it's kind of like a 3D experience.
See, that's kind of why I like this whole idea. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to say that I like both the 2D and 3D, though. I also I got into Gorillaz like when I was like 11 years old, so it was around the time before the 3D came. So I'm more on the side of the 2D animation, but I do like both though.
Yeah, personally, I think it's good to have both situationally. Like some music videos should be all 2D, some 2D with I like a variety. Some 2D with 3D, some real backgrounds with the 3D. But I think that overall the 2D fits them better. But I think also, if we're talking about this potential new phase with the AI versus reality, I think it would be really cool to maybe have the AI ones be like more realistic, which I think would be funny, and then have the real ones be the cartoon, because that makes you go back and question, well, all these other phases that had the real models, was that the cyborgs this whole time? We're trying to replace them? Was the time every time we see the cartoon, is that the real Gorillaz? Like, it would make you go back and question everything, which I love that kind of thing.
It does. I can totally see Jimmy going that route for Phase 8 and stuff.
I could too.
That's a total Jimmy move.
The way, and it's mind boggling to see that, because if you pay attention to the fan art that Jamie does, if you're like me and you study Jamie's art really hardcore, I have noticed that he's been doing some really trippy artwork right now.
Yeah.
I've noticed
from
now.
He said he's experimenting,
especially on his on the Instagram account for Gorillaz. I've noticed that. Yeah.
It seems more like he's leaning towards that direction now. He's playing very heavily off of the whole AI scene. Like he's like, you know what? I'm going to play off of this because I have seen so here's the thing. Jamie has a TikTok, and it's Jamie. Okay, I don't know if it's run by Jamie or Damon, but their TikTok sees all of what we're doing. They see all of our series. They see all of our fan art, all the cosplays, all of our series. Yeah. And I think what they're doing is taking all of our ideas, all these cosplays, all these series, and they are combining it into ideas and thoughts and theories, and they're good. And I think Jamie right now is laughing at our faces because he in his head he's got us thinking that this is going to be AI, and Damien's over here like, I could pull this whole switcheroo on everybody. So I think there's.
Oh,
I think
he would totally
okay,
do that. I could totally see Jamie
I
doing
can
that.
see. I can picture Damien right now sitting down in his office with a cup of tea, sipping it, and laughing in British at how freaking funny this is that they got believing in
I
AI.
know the
Yeah.
Or
Gorillaz.
potentially,
Yeah.
we could be right about this because you
Well-
never know with Jamie and Damien. They like to pull a lot of
True.
like
They do.
They
twists.
like to do a lot of plot twists when it comes to all the faces of Gorillaz. They do a lot of plot twists.
What really got me
You
thinking
never
about
know
this,
what's
though,
gonna happen.
what kind
Ooh,
of
I do
owns some
like the
legitimacy to
series
this?
that
Oh,
I do
sorry,
like
go
the
ahead.
series that Team Sinclair has. Sorry, they had the series that Mordok could go back to prison, and then Paula might be stalking 2D and Noodle, or actually, sorry, just stalking 2D, and then Noodle might be going back to Japan. Okay, so that is a good theory too, because potentially Noodle could be fed up with Mordok, because remember in the last cult, she was really fed up with like this whole entire
Mhm.
cult
Moonflower
business.
thing.
Yeah,
Fed up
everything
with
Murdoch does.
2D games, everything. She was just
Mhm.
fed up with
Yeah,
everything.
and she was just fed up with
I would hate that.
Mordok obsessed over Moonflower and
Oh.
stuff.
What if Cyborg Noodle replaces
She
Noodle
was fed
again?
up with the
What if
whole,
she
like,
just goes
2D
back to a normal
game.
band?
She potentially
We
she
never know.
could.
Until she started
I
acting
mean,
funny.
it's a good thought. She could potentially go back to Japan, but I'm thinking, what if she took Russell and 2D with her? Because
I don't
here's
think they
the
would
thing.
leave the
I
band.
really highly believe that Noodle would not abandon Russell and 2D
No.
because Noodle and 2D have this like really like sister
Like, and
brother
Breath
bond.
Bond.
And I feel like, and then like if we, like I feel like Russell and Noodle kind of have like this fatherly bond. So
Mhm.
like she would want to take Russell with her out of this like bad situation, and she would take 2D with her because she does not want to just leave 2D with Mordok. Like that is just
No.
100%
Danger
bad
donuts.
idea.
Well, I think that what would happen is she would leave for a while, saying she's leaving permanently because she couldn't leave them behind forever. And then the cyborg takes over, and then maybe we see Paula, since we know she did develop the circuitry and the chips for Cyborg Noodle's brain, according to the Gorillaz Almanac.
Mhm.
So what if she makes this Cyborg Noodle go against them and sabotage them and start attacking them, and Noodle is actually on the sidelines watching because she never actually would leave them, and then it's Cyborg Noodle versus regular Noodle, and we get that rematch.
It'd be like the best
Or that
event
actual
on
first
Mordok
match.
and stuff.
It could be. Another good theory I had is playing off of that is potentially, like you said, Paula Cracker could potentially, even though she says she was not mad at Gorillaz, that interview she gave felt like she was really pissed off that she got replaced by Noodle. And I'm thinking, what if she wanted to get her old job back? So basically, first she would like, maybe she planned like this fake vacation for Noodle. So Noodle goes back to Japan, and then once Noodle's gone, she tricks Mordok into letting her fix Cyborg Noodle, but she hacks into it, and she has Cyborg Noodle attack them, and then basically she creates this cyborg 2D to replace 2D, or she could potentially
one at a time start replacing them.
Yes, one at a time start replacing them.
I like that. Every video, they're just a little bit different. There's one of them's acting different each time until the whole band's robotic.
We totally see that happening, but while she's doing that, I think what would be cool is maybe like 2D escape, and he steals like this map from Mordok where Ace is located. So he basically, so there's a huge if. So maybe he steals like a car or Mordok's motorcycle if he has one. He steals it. 2D. We just see 2D and Russell speeding down the highway towards the underground bunker, and they run into
to get Ace to like help out.
Yeah, to go get Ace too.
Ace would totally help out if the
but
in need of it and stuff. Totally.
But before they do find Ace, I think it would be funny. Like their car breaks down and they had to stop at like this old bar in the middle of the desert, and they walk in and they see Hannibal drinking, and 2D mistakes him for Mordok, and And they just have like this conversation that just goes wrong, and Russell has to break up like the bar
Oh my
fight.
god, yes.
And then Russell's like, dude,
mistaking Hannibal as small
right?
talk,
And then
definitely.
Hannibal's
I love it.
like complains to them about Mordok, and he's like, so where's my brother now? And then they tell him what's going on, and he's like, yeah, fine, I'll come help you. So they bring Hannibal with them on this car ride, and they're just like heavy metal rock music playing while they're driving through this like in the middle of nowhere with the robots, exactly. And then they find Ace, and they bring Ace back with them. And then once they get back there, it's just completely where Mordok is right now. You just see a complete whole cyborg army, basically clones of Gorillaz. And on top, we see Cyborg Noodle with the giant Frankenstein monster, and we see Paula holding like the controls that controls the cyborg, and she's just laughing evilly. And Mordok's like pleading with her to stop it, but she doesn't want to. And so basically we have Russell, 2D, Ace, and Hannibal all fighting the cyborg, and Noodle just comes out, and they have to, and Noodle helps. So basically Noodle would be helping Ace, Hannibal, Russell, and Ace as they all fight the cyborg. So that's also an idea I had.
So I mean,
True. I can actually
that
see
sounds-
that happening.
yeah, that sounds like a total Jamie plot. And the fact that they meet Hannibal, I don't think
It
that Hannibal would
does.
come with them. Just him mistaking Hannibal for Murdoch and have that funny scene, and then they just move on and go get Ace. It's like a red herring. You think they're gonna get Hannibal, but they just meet him, and then later on, Jamie's like, "Yeah, that was Hannibal." You know, kind of confirm it. I could see them doing that.
Right. That would
Yeah,
that would be funny if we tried to get Hannibal, but
Yeah.
Hannibal doesn't go with them.
We need another
I
green.
think
We need
like
Ace.
Judy would have to bribe him into it. With like, because if you think about it, Mordok's father was an alcoholic, so
Good to
they
see,
would
by
have
the way,
to bribe
Beatrice.
him with like, Hannibal with like money or alcohol or something.
Yeah,
He's just
because
not
he
gonna go willingly.
he did get that trait from his father about the whole money stuff and alcohol and stuff. He got that trait from his father.
Yeah, all his bad habits.
Yep.
But I definitely think that could happen. Or maybe, I mean, 2D. I mean, we haven't really given 2D a lot of credit, but maybe 2D is the one who finds out what Paula Cracker is up to, and he just decides to save the day by himself. So he basically, but then Russell and Noodle had to come after him because, TD kind of gets in a lot of trouble. And so basically
That's
2D
good.
ends up getting like stuck, like getting lost in the desert,
Mm-hmm.
and he accidentally runs into Ace, and Ace like drags him. You can see Ace head popping out of the bunker, and it drags
Hello?
2D down
Like a little prairie dog.
with him.
Okay. Okay. You since you're missing that, I did actually do like a Ace character on character AI where he's popping his head out of the bunker. I actually did
So,
do that.
I can see. So this is another series, so I can see Ace dragging 2D down in the bunker and be like, "Why did you come here?" Like he's like, Ace is like freaked out. He's like, not in his right mind state, and 2D's just like, "Bro, you have to come back with me. It's not gorillas.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of clones. There's a whole bunch of robots running around.
It'd be a
I don't
conspiracy
know what's
theorist.
real
You'd believe it.
anymore." He's just freaking out. He's just
Yeah.
freaking out, and Ace is just like, whoa, slow down. What?
It's like that Stranger
So
Things
then-
moment when they met that dude down in the bunker. It'd be like that, but in gorillas.
That would be cool.
Oh,
so I
that's
can see
true.
that happen.
Oh.
And then when they get back, it's just complete chaos. Like
Yeah.
everything is
Whole
just
town's
chaos
robots.
because it's
Yeah,
because
we can see Mordok being forced to make all these robot android things, all the AI robots and stuff, and him pleading with
Yeah.
Paula.
right, because I think
Totally.
it would be funny if 2D and Ace teamed up and they just see a whole bunch of like Cyborg, and they see Cyborg Noodle, and like 2D is being confused of like, "Oh hey Noodle," and Ace just pulls him back like before he gets killed. He's like, "Dude, this is not Noodle," and he's like, "How do you know?" And Ace is like, "It's obvious."
That's really
It's obvious.
yeah. That's really symbolic too, because Murdoch's whole career started with his dad forcing him to play Pinocchio, a man on strings, a robot,
Mhm.
basically. Now we get all these robots being
Yep.
controlled by Paula. it mirrors that, so that's really going to be hard for him, like, mentally. Like, this is so
Yeah,
symbolic of everything.
It is,
Oh,
'cause
it is
he
definitely
did
gonna
have
be
a
hard.
bad childhood with his father doing
I
that to
think,
him, because
I think
that
like
brings back a lot of
potentially,
memories.
potentially maybe Mordok has like this breakdown. Like we could potentially see Mordok have a mental breakdown when this
Oh,
happened, because like he's
definitely.
getting all these like bad memories from his father, and then like if they add Hannibal in there, potentially Hannibal could like walk up to him while Mordok is like freaking out, having a mental breakdown, and like he's like, "I told you, you're worthless." Like his brother can make it worse.
Yeah, he
Well,
could.
he's in this
Dad
like,
was right about you.
episode, and
Look,
like
you're just a puppet again.
I think it was mentioned that 2D, when 2D and Bulldog were sitting on like on top of the roof and they were like drinking or something. Bulldog, I think, like, you know, like confessed everything that happened in his childhood to 2D and stuff. So I could probably totally see 2D like trying to comfort him or something if he does, you know, like admit like a mental breakdown or something.
Right. Or my thought is, okay, so a lot of people said that 2D potentially could get revenge. Now, I was thinking, if this is just a wild guess on this one, but if 2D were to get revenge on Mordok, he could potentially team up with Paula and basically have her do this to Cyborg Noodle and then turn against Mordok. He wouldn't really potentially kill off Noodle and Russell. He would keep them around, but Mordok, he would try to get rid of him. So potentially either 2D teams up with Paula to try to get rid of Mordok, or Paula double crosses 2D and basically tries to control Gorillaz herself with the help of Cyborg Noodle, and then that's when they need the help of Ace. But then Hannibal shows up and it creates a whole bunch of new fiasco.
Well, I think the real question here, as much as we know that Murdoch loves Cyborg Noodle, because I mean, we saw the tear when he saw her body, as much as we know that he loves her, could he choose helping 2D and his band over Cyborg Noodle? Could he choose 2D over her? Or would he join
okay, to answer that question, to answer that question, as much as he does talk about having kind of respect for 2D and like, you know, calling him a blue-haired blue-haired god, not goddess, sorry. And like kind of worshipping him, even though he treats him like shit and stuff.
Yeah.
And even though he gave him like a lot of high praises in the last cult, I feel like Mordok would choose Cyborg Noodle over 2D because
I think so.
Because he basically calls Cyborg Noodle his daughter. He saw Noodle as his daughter.
Yeah.
So basically,
that's
Noodle
true. Yeah, he did see
Noodle
as his daughter and stuff. So
I really think when it comes down to this, I think he would choose Cyborg Noodle over 2D. But there would be a side of him that like, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose him.
He'd choose money over everything.
Money making a scene.
because he's like a great senior and stuff, and doesn't want to lose that great senior that 2D is.
I think the only reason why Mordok keeps 2D around is because 2D can make him money quicker and faster for his addiction.
Because everyone just loves 2D singing, and he's like the front face of the the front man of the band and stuff.
Right. But part of me thinks that Mordok hates 2D, and part of me secretly thinks that he doesn't hate 2D. He just wants everybody to think he hates 2D, but he doesn't, because 2D is the only person who understands him, who gets what he's been through, who knows.
Because I do remember that them mentioning about him and Mordok being on top of the roof, drinking, and like Mordok breaking down and telling his whole like past about his childhood to 2D and stuff.
Right. So I think he would hesitate on leaving Cyborg Noodle, but I think at first he would choose Cyborg Noodle, but then he would hesitate and remember all the good times he had with 2D, and then he would turn around and choose 2D in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and also in the last cold, we saw 2D come back through the portal to get Mordok and stuff as well. Right. So
that kind of reestablished their bond. I just hope we're not too far off on all this stuff. The only reason I even brought the Cyborg Noodle up again at all is because right at the end of Cracker Island, Jamie drew that picture on his Instagram of an aged Cyborg Noodle. So I just can't see that just being random. And he had no explanation. That seems to be like foreshadowing.
I actually saw that on his Instagram. Like,
it's actually the thumbnail for this
that
video.
must be a hint. It might. I was like thinking to myself, that has to be a hint at what to come with Phase 8. You know.
But what's interesting is
they changed their mind so much though. So who knows?
Yeah, they do.
True.
But if Damien does decide to go with Cyborg Noodle, it could mean that maybe they'll bring Dally back maybe for this because potentially because if you think about it, you remember all the seniors that collaborated during Plastic Beach and stuff. They did see Cyborg Noodle get blown up, but they didn't see her die. So potentially they could bring back the old collaborating artist. They could bring Dally back.
I mean, she was alive.
I'm thinking maybe
she opened her eye at the end of the Lost Chord. She opened her eye. She's alive, or at least was.
So maybe potentially they could bring her back, and they could bring back Dally with her. Maybe you think about it, maybe they bring him back and he collaborates with Cyborg Noodle and stuff, because that would it would kind of make sense because, you know, he was in a submarine, she was in a submarine, they both survived. We were told they were dead, but they both survived, and Cyborg Noodle decides to collaborate with this artist. Or she forces him to collaborate.
Well, I mean, AIs don't age though. That's the only thing.
I could totally see Noodle like forcing, but yeah, AIs don't age.
So could that be Paula? Maybe she's like making herself to an android. Maybe it's foreshadowing her coming back as an android, kind of her version of Cyborg Noodle.
Ooh. It could.
Maybe it could.
Keeping herself alive.
I think,
keep herself young.
I think I wouldn't pass Damien and Jamie to do that. You know. As a hint for Phase 8 and stuff.
I do agree with that, but also I don't know. Like, I was thinking, because they did hit around a lot too with Paula Cracker potentially coming back too, and that makes me think.
True.
And then when we have Cyborg Noodle, it made me think of like, well, these two could potentially work together, or Paula Cracker potentially could join Cyborg Noodle's band. Oh, and the Boogeyman. Okay, so I have a hint too, kind of on the Boogeyman. Thinking about him. So I remember last time 2D gave us a little hint that he was working on a movie set, or he was like this big movie star. But I think potentially after like the whole movie set, I think he potentially maybe could have gone back to Plastic Beach, even though it's not like Plastic Beach anymore. But he goes back there potentially, and maybe maybe he ends up running into Cyborg Noodle, and it's just like this really awkward, weird conversation between those two. And Cyborg Noodle's like, "Help me get off this island," and he's like, "What is it in for me?" And they make a deal. So basically, Cyborg Noodle could be working with the Boogeyman. They come back, and the Boogeyman's like, even though he says he's not after Mordok's soul, maybe he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go after Mordok's soul again, why not? So he goes back after Mordok's soul. But here, the interesting thing though, as I was thinking, is if potentially the Boogeyman does come back and help Cyborg Noodle, could they potentially bring the oh god, I'm gonna butcher this name so bad, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. The Evelyn back, which we saw with the female version of the Boogeyman. Could they potentially bring her out?
Ooh. Yeah, we never did actually get to see her in the game.
Yeah, they brought her in a game.
That's true. We did see her in the game and stuff, but they never put her in any of the phases.
No, they did not. So I think that she has the potential to come out and potentially maybe help Mordok. Because I feel like she could help Mordok out too, because potentially with Paula Cracker coming back, Cyborg Noodle coming back, and the Boogeyman coming back, all three of them team up together, I feel like she could help Mordok and warn him, and then Mordok warns Ace, and Ace comes back, and then they all try to stop him.
All the enemies versus all the allies. They do have a lot of enemies they built up over the years.
And I feel like maybe
too.
like I feel like MODOK and Hannibal would kind of have like that brotherly argument at first, but then Hannibal
True.
kind of agrees to help him.
Yeah. All right, we actually have some more
Yeah, I can
things in
totally,
live chat too.
I can totally see them having like that brotherly argument, and then him actually helping out and stuff. Yeah.
So Tink
Or
Sinclair
potentially,
says, why did Murdoch give 2D the truth serum? On their story the day the video came out, someone said that Murdoch injected 2D with a syringe of truth serum.
oh
He probably
yes,
did this to
oh,
get
yes.
revenge. Do you all remember why he did that
I
specifically?
remember that.
I think they mentioned it, but it
I
was like
remember
in
that.
passing.
It's
It's basically
like
okay. So basically, the reason why MODOK ejected 2D with the truth serum or the surgery is because he thought 2D had all these answers to why portals were opening up. He thought 2D was opening up portals
Yeah.
and stuff, and he wanted 2D
to be the
tell
only
him,
one
hey,
to
did
have
you open
portal
a
control.
portal?
Yeah.
And so that's why he did that.
Yep. I knew it was something to do with that particular set of time, and then everything going on with him getting jealous and making his own little portal in that closet and everything. But I couldn't remember the connection there. Thank you for dropping that memory on that.
yes, I remember that too. The whole portal in the closet thing
Yeah.
and getting
That
into
was-
it.
That
He
was
had
like
he had
uh,
trouble.
the,
Murdoch had a lot of trouble
that
getting the
video.
band back in control. It was almost like 2Ds for so long.
Yeah, I feel like potentially if Damon wanted to do this, he could potentially have 2D take over the band, or potentially 2D just was like, you know what, this is my band now. He kicks out Mordok. We had the Cyborg comes back during that time that he kicked Mordok out. Maybe. But I
Possibly.
don't feel like 2D is that cruel to kick Mordok out. You know?
Yeah, I don't think he would be. No, I mean, he probably does hate for everything that Mulder did do to him in the past and stuff. But I don't think he would go that far to do that to Murdoch, because he knows what Murdoch's been through
Yeah.
through his entire
Right.
life and childhood and stuff. Because he did have him confess, like 2D had Murdoch confess to him about when they were drunk and seeing the top
Right.
of the roof and
But-
talking and stuff.
Do have a question though. Okay, this is also part of an idea too. So I know, even though we know Mordok's father is dead, could they potentially bring him back as like this ghost or spirit potentially?
Oh, they could possibly do that. I mean, I wouldn't past Damien to do
here's
something
the
like
idea.
that.
So
A lot
what
of people
if
thought it was the boogeyman
Mordok's dead?
because of the nose.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Okay.
Oh, okay. I forgot that Mordok's dad is the boogeyman stuff. I've
Yeah,
also
I
even seen
was just gonna
Fanart
say
too.
that. I was just gonna say that. What if the
I've also
boogeyman?
seen Fanart that.
Okay, what if Mordok's dad possesses a boogeyman? He comes back, and he tries to take revenge on his son. And Paula Cracker hears news of this. She decides to also help get revenge on Mordok too. So basically,
Oh, I could totally see her joining forces with Mordok's dad.
Cyborg Noodle.
Definitely.
all go
Mhm.
after Mordok because they all hate him for what he did in the past. His dad specifically because he sees Mordok as this failure of a son. Paul Cracker because she has a personal grudge with him, and then Hannibal perhaps maybe also tries to get revenge on Mordok because Mordok has done many bad things to different people.
Do you think we'll hear
That's
anything
what
else
he
from the Book of Man?
has.
Do you remember the Book of Man? It was that book that talked about how Murdoch had been reincarnated since the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he made the deal with
I
the
remember
Boogeyman
that.
initially, like in the Western times. Think we'll hear anything else about
Mhm,
that?
I
I was
remember that.
been wondering if that'll ever resurface, because we almost had it in the Plastic Beach game, and then the Plastic Beach game got shut down.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so mad.
I-
Like I was
I don't
hoping they
know,
would
I
be
think
fun.
I'm hoping they do bring that back at some point for Phase 8 or something, because
That
that
would
would
be
be neat
cool.
to bring back.
That needs to come back
Right, that
eventually.
would be cool.
In a
or
book, or I mean,
they could
heck,
bring-
release the actual book as a book. People would buy it. I know
Yeah,
they would.
they should.
Oh,
And,
true.
like,
People, Gorillaz fans would totally buy it, definitely.
yeah, and they should bring back the equivalent too. Like I really wanted more of like more lore to her. Like what did she do? What is her
Exactly.
role with Mordok? Because we know she's the good side of the of the boogeyman. She's the
Evangelist,
opposite.
yeah.
True. We need like more lore for Hall. We also need more lore on Moldog's
What if it's his
brother
mother?
Hannibal because we don't know much about him.
Yeah, like Jamie just cannot
We also
leave.
don't know Moldog's mother either.
It could. I mean, what if the Evangelist
No,
is the
we don't-
mother and the boogeyman's the father, and that's like their spirits became this thing in like the next not evolution, but in the next reincarnation cycle, and they're like coming
could
back,
be.
representing his alternate sides.
Because the only thing we know so far is that Moldog's mother left them on Moldog's dad's front doorstep. Yeah, Sebastian's doorstep and stuff. When he was came back from the ball.
Yeah, we don't
and
know
stuff.
his.
Well, it's rumored. It's rumored that his mother was ill, and I remember somewhere Morlock said that Sebastian had a lot of fleas, and he mistaken them for his mother, and he had like this really weird memory of his mother singing a song to him. But I'm thinking, what if that gives his memory of one of his father's fleas that he accidentally mistaken as his mother, and he can't actually remember his mother at all.
Yeah, because we know that he was left on his dad's doorstep and stuff.
Right, and his dad did have a lot of fleas.
Yeah. He did, and so did Moldog too. He also had a lot of things as well.
Yeah, especially back in the early days. But I'm just wondering though if those could be his parents, because I remember when Jamie and Damon talked about Plastic Beach, they said that is Murdoch's album. That's Murdoch's point in time. It's supposed to talk about Murdoch. That's why we had the Book of Man. It's supposed to talk about what he was in the past, showing his deals with the Boogeyman. And then he said that the Boogeyman represents everything bad about Murdoch, and the Evangelist is going to represent all the good sides of him. So if they represent his sides, to me, I don't think it would actually be part of him or one of his iterations when he was reincarnated. That seems more to me like it would be his family members that represent him. Like his mother representing all his good, which is half of him, technically, and then his dad representing all the bad, which is half of him. So that's why I thought that.
I think the Boogeyman could be a reputation of his father Sebastian, and maybe the equivalent is a reputation of his mother.
And that's why there's no face. That's why you can't see the Evangelist's face. He doesn't remember his mother's face.
Yeah, because he was only a baby at the time.
So it's like his projection of what he sees them as.
He wouldn't remember what his mother looked like when he was a baby.
So the Boogeyman could be Sebastian, but Murdoch doesn't really
like
remember his own father's face.
Well, he remembers his face, but he sees him as like this soul-stealing monster. And then his mother, he just sees as this faceless good being because he thinks of his mom in a good light, but he doesn't remember her face.
Yes. So maybe like that's why the Quillet looks the way she is, because he sees her as kind of like this, even though like he sees her as this monster, but like this good monster, and he sees his father as this really evil thing.
She has like a green face too.
I can totally see why he would see his father like that, because his father was abusive towards him and stuff as a kid.
But I mean, the thing is, the Evangelist was fan submitted. But at the same time, Jamie wouldn't have picked something that didn't represent what he was already thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true.
Exactly, that is true.
But what do you think? What is your thought though? Because they did mention like maybe bringing back Paula, and they mentioned Cyborg Noodle, but they also Jamie talked about bringing Ace back too. But how do you think
true.
How do you think he would come back though? Like potentially, they have so many characters that they could potentially bring back, or they could throw it in a different direction too. But they also were talking about him too in the Now. So I'm wondering if like maybe somehow all of this is connected.
Has any foreshadowing in Gorillaz, like I'm trying to think back from the beginning, has anything from like the earlier phases ever been foreshadowing in a later phase, or is it always kind of fresh? Because to me it always seems like it's kind of fresh, but then I go back and I'm like, oh wait, that connected to that connected to that. So really I guess the question is, how much are they actually foreshadowing here?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
That's true. I'm wondering is that same thing, like how much they're foreshadowing for
it
Phase 8 and stuff.
To me, it feels like they're foreshadowing stuff, because when I look back, I remember they were foreshadowing potentially, like when they did the Now, they were foreshadowing him being in control of everything.
Oh, true, because I remember the posters in that one music video saying "Save us from him" and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So potentially, I think they could be foreshadowing him is coming back, They could be foreshadowing that Cyborg Noodle is also potentially coming back. Maybe potentially Paula Cracker as well.
Maybe.
And maybe potentially Ace as well, because I remember 2D mentioned something about, I think he said somewhere in the Almanac, I don't know if it was an Almanac or an interview, I remember somewhere he said that, they gave Ace a job as their tour bus manager, and Ace took it. But I don't know if that's before he went underground in a bunker, or that was like after he went underground.
It was after.
I think it could be like after
of their tour, and then he went underground. I remember that.
That could be.
I remember that. I remember them doing that first, and then them saying he went to a bunker after. So, yeah, that was the order of that. Granny Monster says, "Have we explored the lore of old Hanna-Barbera animations?" I have not. Is there actually lore to explore there? That's kind of unrelated though, but I'm curious. I'm really curious. But
I actually am as well. There's gotta be some like lore with that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, there's definitely lore in Gorillaz. There always has been. Of course, like in the very first or second phase, we got the Rise of the Ogre, which is a whole freaking book of lore.
There's like a ton of lore that goes with Gorillaz and stuff. There's like a ton.
There is. Now I was thinking, what about? I don't know if they're gonna do more stuff with the Pink Phantom, because I know they did that for a little bit with the Pink Ghost, and we thought, I don't know if anybody saw this or not, but we remember how like we saw the Pink Ghost kind of float by in one of the music videos during like the Plastic Beach.
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah,
it went into that pilot or around that pilot.
I do remember that.
Do you think do you potentially think there's any like potential lore surrounding that, or do you think they're just
I have a
kind
whole
of
video of lore on that I just haven't released yet that I need to go ahead and get on. But the pink is very symbolic of a lot of ritualistic things that Murdoch does, and that Murdoch did with Lamash 2 and Pazuzu and all of that kind of stuff. And we're also talking about Februa and all these different things really connect to the color pink. And at first I was wondering if the Pink Phantom was actually Murdoch's father, but
which is probably why he started the whole pink.
I wondered that too.
It's not though, because we see that it has the little hat in the one, in a couple of the posters of it, and it's the hat of the pilot. And then when we see the pilot skeleton and the lost cord, then you see the Pink Phantom flying around it. So it was the soul of that angry pilot that was still after him after all this time. That shows that Plastic Beach is still thriving, and it's still pushing forward to try to get to Murdoch. None of that stuff we thought he completed, he didn't. There's still some demons and some things after Murdoch from Plastic Beach. All that, again, that's why I said what else survived Plastic Beach on this sign. What else survived? What else is still coming after them? Because I don't think that whole section's over yet. I think the movie that got canceled might have continued that.
I think there's like a lot that would be coming after them.
Right. Yeah. Looking back,
I mean, the fact that we entered it in a whole other phase anyway, I mean, that's pretty big.
Right. Yeah, we got a lot of things that could be coming after Murdoch, like the Boogeyman. He's still there. The Equivalent, she's still there. Those two could come back. We also got the Pink Ghost that could come back. Maybe potentially Cyborg Noodle because she survived. The pirates, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe what happened to the rest of the pirates? Because they didn't kill them all. Did they just give up, or are they still after them? That's the thing. That was a pretty big bounty on their heads.
I think they could possibly come back. Who knows?
Well, I don't know about Dally though, because I know he wanted to collaborate seniors, but I don't know if he survived or he's dead. If he's not dead, that music collaborator could come after Murdoch.
If I remember right,
he's alive.
I think I remember there was a Q&A.
True.
And somebody asked Damon what happened to the character Dolly, and then Jamie interrupted Damon. I remember this. I'll have to find it, but I remember Jamie interrupted him and saying, "Oh no, that's all done. They're dead." So it's like, are you just joking? Because it's hard to tell with Jamie. Are you joking or are you being legitimate here? I'll have to find that interview.
Right.
But I have a strong memory of that happening.
I generally wonder maybe he could come back. That's also a thought, but.
I mean, you never know with Jamie and Damien. They could bring him back.
Here's the thing, though. When they released Pink Phantom, and I remember they had Elton John in there, and the Pink Phantom was interacting with Elton John, I was wondering what's the connection between Elton John and the Pink Phantom, specifically, like, do they have, like, some weird connection with him? Like, does Murdoch have... I'm trying to like connect it with him because you don't just bring Elton John in that song with a pink ghost. Like there's gotta be more.
So that candle. Do you know what that candle represents?
The
voodoo
burning
hand
candles.
candle.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that's an actual voodoo artifact, and what they do is they take an actual dead man's hand, and they burn wax on it and actually burn the hand down, basically. And when it reaches the palm, you're supposed to be able to not exactly revive, but kind of reincarnate the person whose hand it is immediately. Or in some variations of it, you can that's going to be in the Pink Phantom theory. But in other things, you can also contact them. So either they were trying to reach out and see who the ghost was, or they were trying to force the ghost to go ahead and reincarnate so it would stop bothering them.
Oh,
and that's the connection. It was the candle, not exactly Elton John per se, but the fact that he had the candle on his piano.
Yeah, and during the Pink Phantom, you can see 2D and Elton John like doing the duet, and then like later you see Modoc walking in with like a net and stuff.
Yeah, trying to get the ghost.
Also to Elton John.
Right, but the question is why wasn't 2D and Elton John bothered by that hand on their piano? Like they were just not bothered by it, and like Elton John sees the ghost. The ghost literally would by him, and he's just like he didn't even care about it. He's just like and then you got Modoc coming in with like a net sneaking in. I'm wondering if maybe Modoc kind of informed Elton John about this. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna try to raise this dead guy. I just want you to interact with 2D.
If he told him that, he'd leave, though. So maybe he's just trying to, in the background, keep him from seeing it. And that's why he had that candle going, because he knew he'd have company soon. So he's like trying to get it out of their hair as quick as possible. But what happened to it? Because we know it didn't work.
It could explain why he had the net. Maybe it's to catch the ghost or something. Yeah. Maybe.
Just in case. Okay, or while he's waiting for the
why he had the net.
Okay, so according to Granny Monsters, they said it puts you to sleep. Ah, interesting. Okay. So basically, so if Modoc wanted to put 2D and Elton John to sleep, my question is why? Why would he want to do that?
Well, I think why he put 2D to sleep would probably because I don't know. I mean,
they did have their eyes
closed.
A
lot that he could do full like 2D and stuff.
Right.
Elton John, though, I'm not totally sure why Elton John. 2D, I can kind of see him putting to sleep, yes, but Elton John, not so much.
Okay. This is a wild theory, but what if Modoc was using Elton John's body as a way to get the ghost to reincarnate into him? This is just a wild theory.
Yeah, we're not talking about. I did hear actually. That's another point that's in the video. The dead man's hand, the actual dead man hand that Granny Monster's talking about. Yeah, that one does put you to sleep, but there was another variation. I don't know if you know of it or not, but there was another variation of it. The one I'm talking about, the reincarnation. Do you know of that one? Because there were multiple. Yeah, there were multiple hand candles actually. There was a lot of different variations of that, and some of them were voodoo. Some of them were different religions, different practices, different magics, but. There was actually quite a few, so I had to go through a list. I just took that one off the list because I didn't think that would be related per se. But I mean, it could be. I don't know. You could be. I mean, I thought that one was voodoo, but I'm probably misremembering which particular one
it could
I found.
Be.
Probably.
It's in my notes somewhere.
Though.
But it could be.
It would make sense what you said. It could be reincarnation. And what's interesting is when I was thinking about the pink ghost, I was thinking it particularly hated around 2D and Elton during the whole entire song a little bit, and I was thinking maybe the ghost was having a hard time figuring out whose body to possess because 2D has a really pure soul, as Moonflower said, but maybe that also could relate to Elton John too, because the pink ghost is like, oh, I could possess this guy, I could possess this one, and nobody would know.
Yeah, it probably did. I mean, think about it. We know it didn't work because in the next video, he's there.
Think about the fan note that Jamie and Damien posted on their Instagram of 2D covering one of his eyes and looking into like a hole and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I do remember that.
I do remember that.
What if it's not? What if the candle, if it is actually what Granny Monster said, and it is the dead man's hand that puts you to sleep, what if that actually wasn't story symbolic? Because we know that, I don't know how much you all look into, but Gorillaz also has like an occult background and symbology that's just kind of like a background thing. Just I don't know if Jamie just does it for fun or if he's representing what's going on in the world right now or whatever. But what if he's telling the world to go back to sleep because so many people were waking up during COVID because they were started doing research and like finding all these secret hidden things. I don't want to say too many, but the Epschmeen, you know what I'm talking about, all that stuff, that island, and we're finding out about that now. What if that was just an occult symbology of go back to sleep? You're waking up too much or too fast.
It could be.
I mean,
It
I don't know
could
if it's
be.
actually related.
Oh,
or not. I'm just curious now.
It could be. You never know. It could
could
be.
be. That would explain why he used it.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of the theme of, it was like post-COVID, was kind of the theme of Song Machine. Kind of seemed like. So that would explain it in that context.
It would.
Yeah, I think that when 2D and everyone saw Cyborg Noodle again, I think that Murdoch, if he wasn't behind it, would be extremely shocked and happy and confused, and I don't think he'd know how to react. 2D would be terrified, and then Noodle would probably try to kill it. Same with Russell.
2D would totally be terrified because on top of the beach he was terrified of Cyborg Noodle and stuff.
I honestly think 2D would have some very traumatized memories brought back up, and he probably would be cowering. He probably would be like trembling and shaking, like he would have a full-on.
We don't need more trauma
panic
for
attack,
2D.
Hyperventilation, stuff like that.
Yes, he would have some like memories coming back from Cyborg Noodle.
He would. He would not be able to talk. Like 2D would be completely vulnerable emotional state.
Yeah.
Pufferfish.
It's okay. Then I don't know. I don't know. Like I was trying to see, looking back at some other clues. The hand clues. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I could be way off on that.
What Gorillaz gonna do with him yet?
Yeah.
Because they did hinted a couple times that I really highly think in the now 2D was actually possessed by him.
Yes, by him.
Oh yeah,
because you could totally see it in the trance video when they were doing the trance. Because you can see Ace like you can like see Ace playing the bass, also looking at 2D with some kind of like worried look on his face.
I honestly think, and the reason why I said 2D was possessed by him is because I remember in this one Powerpuff Girl episode, him basically had the girls have a nightmare of where everything was really distorted, everything was like really trippy, loopy, like it did not look like their world.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I could totally see him doing that to 2D.
I don't think it's him.
In the Trans Now music video, we start seeing like, 2D's point of view, and everything was just it was just like
madness, and also in that found out they're looking at the hole and 2D's covering his eyes, he could probably be possessed by Pazuzu or something like that, because the head like pops up a million times.
The interesting thing is he was. Well, here's the other thing though. Whenever Russell inhaled Moonflower's colt, she inhaled that. He basically inhaled the dead members.
True, and also had a hand over one of his eyes too, and it's popping up over him as well.
And they're both
not
freaking
just
2D.
But the interesting thing is both 2D and Russell are possessed. Why are they acting so normal about it? So
maybe they don't want anyone to know that they're possessed. Maybe that could be. I mean, they could be like they could be like pretending and making people think that they're not possessed.
Right.
When they are probably, because that could be.
We may see them change, because I mean, Murdoch changed. He basically became the Exorcist character, and his skin became green and everything. I mean, that's what it's mirroring because of his possession with Pazuzu and everything, and that's who's possessing. I can't think of her name, but the girl in Exorcist. It's the same demon.
Oh God. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her freaking name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
Starts with like an R, I think. Riley or not Riley, but it's a different name.
I know who you're talking about. I'm trying to think of it, but it's not coming to my mind.
What that got me thinking of? Have you all seen the new Exorcist movies? Like the newest one?
I have.
Remember Lodge 2? The wife to Pazuzu?
I still need to watch the new ones.
Yeah, but it just got me thinking. maybe that's why we keep seeing this kind of like not really romantic, but almost like this
Pazuzu,
attraction between 2D and Murdoch.
up.
What if it's Pazuzu and his wife Lamashtu? Lamashtu being in 2D, Pazuzu being in Murdoch, and that's why there's that weird, almost romantic connections because there's like married deities or demons within them. They're like interacting kind of. There's like
and also
okay, you know,
and that
they usually
that
pairs.
can
They usually don't
also
meet each other.
explain the ring that both 2D and Murdoch have around the neck
you
and
know,
that artwork
That's true.
on
That's true.
Instagram.
I forgot to
both have
mention that,
matching
but they
rings.
do have those two are wearing. Okay, Murdoch and 2D both have rings in the weird,
Around the
oddly
neck.
specific
Yeah.
place. A weirdly, oddly specific place. But they were both seen wearing those two rings on their finger in a really weird.
Almost like they were
kind of
married in a way.
Yeah,
You know?
and then
It felt like a
and
relationship.
then you see them both wearing it around their neck and stuff.
Like
as
they're
Which
bound
well.
is really,
together.
which is, yeah, it's, but it makes me think off of what you said, Grant. It's like it might be actually true and stuff. As weird as it is, it could actually be happening, and that's why Murdoch is treating 2D much more nicer than he used to, because that's what's happening.
Yeah, I could
It's
see
like
that.
it's like Murdoch is in control of his body, basically.
Yeah,
or-
I mean, he does have like a lot of Pazuzu statues and stuff that's like
But-
you see
The
a
same
lot.
one from the
and
Exorcist
stuff.
movie, even with the hand up and everything.
Mhm.
There's just so
But
many
it would
things
make
that
sense
borrow
why
this.
2D. Yeah, and it would make sense why 2D had one of his eyes covered. It's like he's fully coming to realize that maybe he's coming to realize that he's possessed. Like he realizes that.
Mhm.
and
That's
he's
why his
like,
eyes
wait.
change color.
Yeah,
truthfully.
because in the artwork you see him covering his eyes and they're looking down in the hole and stuff. In the
Right,
hole
but-
and
And then it
stuff.
trans, there's
The
like
interesting-
beams of light coming out of his eyes.
Exactly.
And what was interesting too, is that hand too. Like we saw him kind of. Like I was trying to pay very close attention to his eyes. Like his eyes, after a while, they seemed normal, and then they didn't for a second.
Like it was switching. Like like there's a demon hiding in him that was starting to surface.
Especially like when Russell tripped him, his eyes will white and then they flicker
It
back
changed
into
to
like
black,
black
yeah.
and stuff.
Right, but I don't think he was possessed during that time. I feel like he
No.
was more possessed in Cracker Island. Like it was slowly, like he was starting to
Like
lose.
eating his soul almost. Taking
Yeah.
over.
Oh yeah, you could totally see him like being totally out of it, especially when Roadrock mentioned him trying to eat a cold one stuff.
Well, I think he wasn't possessed during that time. I think he was like more possessed like after the whole like Moonflower incident. I think like
I think he got possessed after Modoc went on a date with Moonflower, even though her clothes were still on the wall.
I think maybe that agitated it and made the possession surface and become stronger. But I feel like he's been possessed for a long time, because if you look back at Feel Good Inc., his head turns backwards, like the freaking Exorcist character.
That's
Oh,
really
right,
whatever her name is.
I
Oh,
remember that. I remember that.
So he's had a demon in him for a long time. It's just getting more control.
Speaking of that, yeah. Speaking of Feel Good
Who?
Things, like, he was able to bend backwards, turn his head in such a weird direction. I was thinking, okay, that is certainly not freaking human. There's no freaking possible
It's true, Granny
damn
Monster.
way you are able to do that without breaking your
Yeah,
bones.
it's just the demon didn't have complete control, like of
Well, he
choosing
did
Yeah.
or
drugs,
something like
so
that.
maybe
You
the
know?
drugs allowed the demon to have more
But-
control.
So
And
Did
Murdoch
you drink
was
that
even
Moonflower drink?
So I'm thinking that it took more control of him after Crackle Island and stuff,
It
that he
could
finally
be.
got
like
to get
like
more
Murdoch-
control.
you
of
know?
the
thinking back to that game of where you remember how like Murdoch cut up 2D in that one game?
Yeah.
It made me think maybe Murdoch did actually use 2D in a ritual that we don't know about, but
That's why
he
he's able to
used
survive
2D
it.
in a ritual.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
and
good
she-
idea.
and she-
Maybe that's how he survived it. I was always like, how would you survive a full
Oh.
organ transplant of all your organs? Well, if he had a demon in him keeping him alive, he could do that. So maybe he put a demon in 2D too, so that he could go through with the organ
Oh.
transfer.
That's
And he just never took it back out.
That
That is
but
true.
like
It was around that
2D,
time.
in Figure Ink, 2D could be not aware of being possessed, but like
Yeah, he
after
wouldn't
Crack
be
Island, he
if it was
starts
dormant.
being aware that he's possessed and feeling the demon taking more control of him and stuff.
Yeah,
I think when he
and the
drank the
reason why
Datura
Mordok-
drink, when he drank that drink with the
Mhm.
drugs in it, it caused his
Mhm.
self-aware mind to power down and kind of go
Yep.
into the background, so the demon was able to forefront more.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
It's like,
And I think
I have to agree. It's probably because it probably started taking more control after he drank that Moonflower gave him that made him like all like out of it and stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I
it had
think
Datura
it's the
in it.
reason why Mordok was like kind of being like Mordok was like really concerned about him, and he was acting more like kind of like a lover, and like he was so concerned because he realized the demon that he put into 2D is Pazuzu's wife, and he's like, oh shit, and he's like, oh shit.
I don't like you like that,
He-
man,
he
but
like-
my
he
demon
does-
does.
And then like he goes to save 2D from being sacrificed and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you try to save 2D in the process, he floats with Moonflower and Ricky in the apple.
Yeah.
Like
I
bad
think-
timing to do that.
I think during that moment, I think Pazuzu was smacking him on the head like, you idiot, your
Saved my
wife is 2D. He's like, you're an idiot.
Like you see Mordok pulling on the rope, but also at the same time like winking that Moonflower and floating with
I think during that time, like I feel like during that time that 2D was possessed and just waiting, I feel like Pazuzu's wife was possessing 2D and looking back at them like, are you freaking kidding me? I feel like he
Yeah.
was so mad about that.
Maybe she even caused Murdoch to have the crotch incident during that music video where he slammed into it. That was like punishment for being so stupid.
I feel like she did that on purpose.
Oh my god, yes, I can totally see that. Cause like after Moonflower let go, he's still trying to hold onto the
Right.
rope, but then
It's like
starts
he
swinging
couldn't.
and
It's
then
like he couldn't let go almost. People say it was the
No, he
momentum, but what if
couldn't.
he
I feel
actually couldn't? Like the demon's like, no, you're not going to let go.
Yeah,
and then
I feel
he just like and then he just like crashed into the pole.
I feel like
on
that
his
was
waterfall.
definitely revenge. And then
Yeah.
and then we see after Mordok, like we see like Mordok kiss Moonflower, and 2D's
Mhm.
reaction feels like if he was possessed
Almost
by
jealous, kinda,
Luna's
in a way?
wife. It
He's
was,
like, what? No,
it was
I'm your wife.
genuinely,
It was weird. It was conflicted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like in the music video for Crackle Island, they like Mordok kisses Moonflower because she takes
yeah,
up
but
the like the ghost sheet and stuff, and like it's really
yeah, but
old.
if you look at
He looked
2D's
hurt.
reaction, he looks genuinely hurt and like,
Mhm.
how could you do this? How could you do this to me? Like
Betrayal.
it was like
exactly.
genuinely pure on like
Yeah.
shock and hate.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
Yeah, and then after the whole like silent running video, the fan of them like chilling down like in the hotel room and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gray
And
Monster had a good
during
point
that
too.
time,
So many of the old music videos and the music, the titles and the actual lyrics and stuff did have a lot to do with themes from The Exorcist. So
Mhm.
it is
Mhm.
definitely a connection.
They did.
they
Yeah.
did. That is a good point. I
Sorry, what were you
really
saying?
and what's interesting is looking back at the official artwork on Instagram that Jamie posts, where Mordok came out with a towel. He looked genuinely much more happier, and 2D looked really smug. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but he looked very smug and pleased with himself. Like
Yeah, like you see.
Like you're not gonna
you see
cheat anymore.
Mordok
She's
wrap-
gone.
You could like
Yeah, I feel
you see Mordok have a towel wrapped around him, and 2D's just laying on the bed in the hotel room and stuff.
I
He's got
feel
like
like-
that
I feel like-
smug look on him.
Yeah, I feel like if 2D was possessed by Pazuzu's wife, like she was in control of him. I feel like she was genuinely happy that Moonflower was dead because Moonflower was getting in the way of her love,
Yeah, it's
and she's like,
competition.
I don't want anybody near him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes sense with that smug smile. Because I was always like, it's such a weird
Mhm.
situation for someone to just die that you both love, and then you're holding the urn and smiling so smugly. It always struck me as just wrong.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
it's
it felt
when
weird.
I look back at the artwork that they did for that. It's like, why would 2D be happy? Wouldn't he be sad that Moonfell is dead because he also had a little bit of a crush on Paul as well as Moldog dead, you know?
It felt like that fan art wasn't 2D. It felt like that was more of like Pazuzu's wife being really smug
with that context,
she's dead.
Yeah. And then you get another art walk with 2D and Moldog wearing rings around their necks and stuff.
Now the rings. Okay, so the rings make me wonder if like it's more. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like if Mordaunt gave 2D the ring before, or maybe like he I'm thinking
like he gave the ring to 2D. I think like after like Paul after Moonfell like died and stuff.
Yeah, it was a little after.
And they were like in the hotel.
Right, but the question is like what? But the question is, did Mordaunt give it to 2D willingly, or maybe Pazuzu possessed Mordaunt and gave it to 2D because Pazuzu's wife was possessing 2D and he just decided to give the ring.
I mean, if Lamash 2 was surfaced in 2D at that time.
That's like the first thing I noticed in the artwork. Is like, wait a second, Moldog is wearing a ring, and so too is 2D around both of their necks. It's like, I was like, analyzing that in my brain.
What do you think about the ring grant though? What do you think happened with that? Because like it's not exactly explained too well.
I think the demons in both of them probably had a moment of clarity because we saw that there was definitely possession. We saw the flash of the Pazuzu face and everything. I don't think that was just the drugs. I think it was induced by the drugs, but I think he was in a really possessed state. And Murdoch doing his cult and everything and doing his rituals. I think he actually got himself in that too.
Because Pazuzu's face popped up a lot in the Chronicle Island video and stuff.
So I think that there was a moment of clarity between the two beings within them, and they had a shared moment together and promised not to date anybody else, maybe even like without the knowledge of 2D and Murdoch. And now that they've gone past that moment, I think they honestly don't remember.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm thinking they could bring that back, like if what they do for Phase 8 is that Pazuzu and his wife are both in control and possessing Moldog, like Pazuzu possessing Moldog and his wife possessing 2D and stuff, and they're not in control of the bodies for Phase 8. I could totally see that happening too for Phase 8.
So what are your all's favorite albums of Gorillaz? Sportcasters.
Huh? I feel I'm doing this stuff, so you might have to
we'll wrap up in about 5 or 10 minutes. We're getting close to the end here. If you want to.
Hold on. Oh, sorry, my mom is calling me for dinner.
Yeah, that's the same. We're gonna take about 5 more minutes, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up so y'all can do what you need to do. But Spork Studios, real quick, says, what are our favorite Gorillaz albums, personally?
Before I tell you, I was gonna say my favorite probably would be, my favorite album probably would be, I do like the Cracker Island album, and I also like the Plastic Beach album.
Yeah, I mean,
those are probably my two favorites.
It kind of mirrors
the Cracker.
Go ahead, you do.
I had to say the Cracker Island one, and probably the D-Sides one.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good stuff on D-Sides, dude. There's so many freaking good albums. That's the problem. It's really hard to pick. Yeah, the funny thing is, anything from the Now
I'll be back really quick.
Anything from the Now back is kind of like, I don't really want to say sacred, because it's not sacred, but it's like really special and like to me. So that's one of the reasons I haven't finished doing the Great Gorillaz tournaments, because like I don't want to judge or make fun of the rest of these songs because they helped me through so much growing up and everything. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be the older albums though. I would say probably. This is gonna sound really weird, and this is I'm probably the only one who has this as a favorite album, but it's probably a tie between Plastic Beach. Actually, it's a 3-way tie. I have to stop it at 3-way, but I'm gonna do a 3-way tie between Plastic Beach, Demon Days, and The Fall. Yes, The Fall.
Oh yeah, Demon Days
it's so
is
experimental.
Good too, as The Fall.
I'm back.
Like I feel like it just there's parts of The Fall that just like resonate with thoughts. Very, very personal, deep thoughts that like connect to the soul, like things I really can't express in any other form of music or relate to in any other form of music.
Yeah.
I know people hate The Fall, but it's super special to me.
that's also the same way with Demon Days too. Some of the songs can like
Exactly. So Demon Days, The Fall,
Yeah.
and Plastic
Demon
Beach
Days
all
is good.
have different aspects
Oh,
of my
yeah, Demon Days has
personality
some
and of
good
myself.
songs on
So
that.
it's a tie between those three for me.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. It'd definitely be a tie.
Yeah, because Demon Days also has some good songs too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you all joining me for this. It was a really fun discussion. I had a really good time doing it. Hope you all did too. And
I did too.
hopefully we can come back once maybe
I
there's a
did
little
too.
bit more news and discuss what we think is going to happen according to the new things
True.
we see. So I hope to come back if
Definitely.
you all want to. I hope to have you all back and
we
do a
just
discussion.
have to like keep our eyes on Instagram and stuff and
Yeah.
see what's
Yeah, I'm
up
keeping my eyes
for
on all
Yeah,
the
Phase
I would definitely love to come back to discuss more about it. Like,
Sure.
once we get like more updates, more news, I definitely want to come back.
True,
For
yeah.
sure. For sure. And if anybody in the comments in the live chat, if you all want to discuss any more Gorillaz theories, any ideas, any theories you all had, I will be in the comments of this video once the video is no longer live. So just post anything you want. I'll be checking it out, and I will most likely reply. So you all too. They'll also probably be in the comments,
Thank
my
you very
guests
much.
today. So
I just saw that. Thank you.
all right. Well, thank you all again, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, keep your eyes wide open and never stop reading. I'll see you all.